Once again, we're doing counter programming to the vice presidential debate. So if you want to see something more fun tonight on Taskforce Geek, we're going to be talking about the Resident Evil Reboot, the latest list of movies that have been moved back. And we're going to be interviewing our guest, comic writer Doug Wood, and that's all coming up now. Welcome to Task Force Geek. We've already got some people following us. That's a good deal. Today, my name is Dirk Hooper, and I am joined by Scott.
Howdy.
And Sean.
Yo.
And we welcome our guest, which is comic writer Doug Wood. How you doing?
Hello.
Howdy, Doug.
We had a few mishaps before we got you here, but we're really glad we got you. How you doing, Doug?
I'm doing much better. Medication helps.
We had technical problems, and now, ironically, your feed looks better than any of our feeds. So you win on the technical end for sure. Oh, we've already got cat problems. All the stories and questions that we're talking about tonight were shared on the Task Force Geek Facebook group and the Task Force Geek Quora space. Join us on either of those communities to get a preview of what we could be talking about. Let's see if I can get those up there. Here is the Task Force Geek Quora space. There's about 540,000 people on that forum. So if you have something to push, put it on there. Also, we have the Task Force Geek Facebook group. Yeah, we talked good about Doug, and he is dropped into a black hole for some reason. So
there he is.
There we go. There's the Task Force Geek. You were just fooling with us. There's the Task Force Geek Facebook group. We're looking for guests for Task Force Geek, either for an interview or to join us on the show. If you have something to promote, like an independent comic, a game, or something else that's geeky, we want to help you with promotion. Contact us at taskforcegeek@gmail.com. We are broadcasting live on my Facebook account. There it is right there. Also on Twitch, which is that right there, and our YouTube channel. Remember, it wasn't too terribly long ago that we were trying to get over 100 people. We are now over 150 people. So
growing every week.
Good for us, and it's growing exponentially, I would say. Hey, where's our share team? If you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, if you share on your platform, then your platform becomes our platform, and hopefully we'll reach a few more people. So please share this live broadcast with your peeps. All right. We're ready for wait a minute. My gosh. Hey, and there is Walt. Look at that. Walt is right on target there. How you doing, Walt? That's one of our buddies there. All right, let's get this banner off of here and go to our first section, if I can find it. Oh my gosh. Here we go. All right. Let us add this to there. Constantin Film has set in motion a new adaptation to add to the ever-expanding Resident Evil movie franchise. Constantin and writer-director Johannes Roberts said Tuesday they have conceived an original, official story adaptation with faithful ties to Capcom's classic survival horror game. This story is set in 1998 on a fateful night in Raccoon City. You might be familiar if you've played that. Starring in the roles of iconic game characters will be Maze Runner's Kaya Scodelario. Hopefully I didn't kill that there. As Claire Redfield alongside Hannah John Kamen, who was in Ant-Man and the Wasp, as Jill Valentine. Robbie Amell, who was in Upload, as Chris Redfield. Tom Hopper from the Umbrella Academy as Albert Wesker. Avon Jogia as from Zombieland Double Tap as Leon S. Kennedy, and Neil McDonough from Yellowstone and so many other things. Neil McDonough's been in everything as William Birkin. So my question to the group, and you can see their pictures there. Sean has shared that up there for us, so you can see the cast. They've already cast that. They're ready to go. My question to the group is, are you excited about a reboot? Do you think this looks like a more faithful adaptation already than the original version? And what are your thoughts about the old Resident Evil movies? And for that, first, I go to Sean.
I hated the previous Resident Evil movies simply because they had nothing to do with the video game. The original movie, let's have everything except what the actual video game was about. We just want an actioner, and
Hey, Mike.
I believe the director was trying to score points with Mia Jovovich, which he finally, after that movie he married. So that's how that all worked out. I was never a big fan, which is odd because I think I own everything by that director. I hate that director, but he's got great ideas. Visually, he's got great ideas. But
did you say you hate him, but you own everything by him?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
I shouldn't say everything. I shouldn't say everything. I don't own the Three Musketeers because that was just total crap. But everything else that he did, there were visual elements that I thought were absolutely fantastic. But he can't tell a story all that well, in my opinion. With that aside, I'm looking forward to something that is a bit more faithful to the video game, faithful to the characters of the video game, and something that doesn't just totally run off the rails like the previous incarnation.
Yeah, who did that original version of those movies? Does anyone? If you don't know, can someone chime in on that for us?
Wasn't it Michael W.S. Anderson? Is that right?
That sounds right. Yep, that sounds
Paul
good.
Paul
W.S.
Anderson. There it is. There it is. Doug with the win. Doug, we're gonna go to you next.
Okay. I'm looking forward to this. The original ones that they put out, while not great, I mean, I think it helped Capcom out probably in some leaner years.
Sure.
They got to probably make some more games that they wouldn't have been able to without, because those things sold. I mean, they brought in tickets at the movie theater, so I'm hoping this is better. I'm hoping this is more faithful. In the same breath, I'm terrified to find out about that Monster Hunter movie that they're making. I'm such a big fan of that series from Capcom, so
right.
It's tough.
All right, Scott, what do you think?
I think you asked the question, am I excited about this, right? Do I have that correct?
Yeah, well, I mean, I asked several questions. You can take or leave whatever you want, man.
Okay, I could look from a standpoint of like, I've never seen the originals because I just didn't care. And today I still don't care. But if they are more closer to the like the video games, because let me tell you something, when those video games came out at the time, our buddy and your former roommate, Hooper, Dave Myers used to rent these things religiously. And back when we lived in Choctaw, he rented it so much he should have just bought the game. But I remember watching him play because the game freaked me out, man, because that was the first game. Like, if you use too many bullets, you just didn't have them later.
Yeah,
Sean can attest to that. Sean can attest to that. He was at the very end. He didn't have enough bullets. But I remember that scene where that snake comes out and that music hits. Oh my gosh. I was like legitimately like scared watching a good scary movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm an adult. So if it can capture that and it can make you Resident Evil fans happy, then so be it. Do I really care about it? Nah. But if it comes out and everybody talks about how good it is, I might go see it.
All right, fair enough. I used to play the old video game. I mean, back in the 90s or something.
Hard.
It was way, way, way ahead graphically from everything else, and they did it by fixing the camera. So they gave you a setting, and then you had to kind of move through the setting in a certain manner. It was very strange, but it sure elevated the graphics at the time. And Scott's absolutely right. It was exceptionally good at creating a mood and
even tense moments with the music. I mean, like, it was crazy.
music and atmosphere, and those monsters were very unique. And it's not just a basic zombie type thing. It literally created the survival horror game, for video games and stuff. And they've had many successful iterations of that game. So I think it's a pretty cool deal that it looks like, to me, since they have the actual characters that are in the original video game, it looks like we're going to actually get a movie that's based on that original video game, and maybe we'll carry over into the other games. They got plenty of them to base movies on if they really want to do that. I think that's potentially very exciting, particularly with the graphics and stuff, the advances that we've had over the past 2 decades, to see kind of where they go with this franchise. With that said, I saw all the old Resident Evil movies. I enjoyed them. They were, over the top. They were cheesy, but visually they were very interesting. They had plenty of action. Mila was really cool. Not really a great version of Resident Evil. It shared the name and not much else. They kind of, plucked one thing or another, like a monster here or there, but for the most part they just kind of did what Hollywood does usually, which is just kind of make up their own stuff for better or for worse. I'm excited about the prospects of actually going back to that original story and seeing it done correctly with the video game, because as Scott just mentioned, the video game was effective as a horror story. So let's see what they can do with that.
I think Resident Evil was the first game that I enjoyed watching other people play, because when it very first came out, the movement was a little awkward. I think you had to press up just to move, and then you redirected how you turned. Yeah.
Up at one point might be down in another point. So it was really where your character was oriented within the fixed camera.
You put scary things in music, and I can't handle moving out through that thing. I tried, and then I just gave up, and I said, I'm going to enjoy watching you play. That's the day I became a dad, about 10 years before I became a dad. I'll just let you kids have fun.
You thought it removed you from the stress of having to fight those monsters or try to collect.
I'm telling you right now, when that snake first appeared, I remember both of us just screaming as this thing came up, and I was like, "Holy hell!" and just going crazy. It was pretty epic moment.
It was really advanced from the point of view of graphics at that time, because nothing really looked like that. Everything still looked like maybe one step beyond the cabinet games that we were familiar with at the time, and this was really a leap forward and stuff. Walt says he enjoyed the movies even though they didn't even match the games. And Mike says he enjoyed most of the movies. And they got Russell Mulcahy to direct one of them. That's the guy who did Highlander, which is, that's pretty cool. All of those things were pretty stylish and fun, but not great movie making or anything. All right. Does anyone have anything else they want to say about that?
No.
We moved through that pretty good. That's pretty awesome. All right.
That's rare, huh?
That
it doesn't lead to another tangent.
Rare. Yeah, we start talking about Rubik's cubes or something.
Right.
All right. Well, we're on to our next deal then. All right. Once again, there we go. The Batman will no longer hit theaters in 2021. In another major release calendar overhaul, Warner Brothers has delayed the comic book adventure and a number of other movies, including The Flash and Shazam 2. The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson as The Caped Crusader had been scheduled for October 1st, 2021. So like exactly a year from now. It's now set to open on March 4th, 2022, as reported earlier on Monday. Denis Villanueva. I say that. I think it's actually Denis Villeneuve. Right. It's French instead of Spanish. Sci-fi epic Dune is no longer premiering on December 18th of this year and will instead move to October 1st, 2021, again, a year from now, which was the date that was previously held by The Batman. Other significant shifts, including the Lana Wachowski-directed Matrix 4, bowing several months earlier than expected, the upcoming sci-fi thriller, which sees the return of Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss, had been set to open on April 1st, 2022, and is now debuting December 22nd, 2021. So what I want to talk about with everyone is the state of movie theaters in general, what it's like for those of us who have been to the theater. I know that Sean and I have, and when we think we're going to get the big budget movies back again. So for that first, I'm going to go to Sean.
Well, everything that I had said previous turned out to be wrong. So clearly, doesn't make any sense to me. I think they're making a huge mistake, but you got to work with what you got. There's a rumor floating around that Wonder Woman may bypass the movie theater completely and go straight to streaming.
Really? They're going to put it on HBO Max?
Wow.
I don't know.
We need to help out that
Wow.
HBO Max. It's been suffering, isn't it?
Right. So
maybe, yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. There was a recent announcement by Regal that as of tomorrow, end of business tomorrow, all Regal theaters will be shut down across the country.
They're done. They're shutting down.
So that in and of itself is kind of...
And if they're doing it, don't be surprised if AMC follows suit and some of the others.
Well, I don't know if AMC even reopened.
You're saying they're not even open now? I don't know.
I don't believe so.
We go to a Regal.
The AMC that's up the street, I don't believe it's opened.
Wow.
Reopened since.
Right.
So I don't know. I honestly, I'm completely flummoxed at this point. I'm just. Will they open up again? Sure, eventually. Will this be? Will this make a shift in Hollywood as far as the movies that get released? Hopefully, Hollywood was trying so hard to chase that dollar that they were pumping out 5-6 movies a weekend. Hopefully this will shave a little bit of that off, and maybe we'll get one blockbuster, and then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later we get another blockbuster, and hopefully the industry can kind of learn from this, hopefully. But again, everything I've been guessing up to this point has turned out wrong. So
Mike Pick from YouTube says, so upset about the schedule change. I could use a good old fashioned blockbuster these days. Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to have some new movies coming out to kind of take our mind off everything else that's happening right now? John Jeffries says all Cineworld in the UK are closing, 5,500 possibly redundant.
Wow.
Cineworld is who owns Regal. So it's Cineworld in the UK. It is Regal in the United States. So it's shutting down in Europe. It's shutting down here in America. Walt says that AMC is staying open. And Mike says most of the theaters here in West Texas are Regal owned. So they're going to be gone probably until the end of the year at least.
Doug, did you say HBO Max is struggling? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's been a lot of the rumors going around. That's why the people were worried about DC Comics, was because that HBO, the way they rolled out the HBO Max, really was put everybody on the wrong foot, and AT&T was really hurting.
Interesting. What do you think? Have you been to a movie during this period of time, or have you been staying at home?
I've been staying at home for movies, but it's I don't know. I have a little baby, so it's harder to go out to a movie theater anyways.
Sure. That makes sense. What do you think about moving these movies back?
I wasn't so surprised with the Batman because it wasn't that long ago when they were saying that they needed an extra week or two delaying because of the pandemic and somebody getting sick on set, if I remember correctly. So
right, you're absolutely right. They stopped production for they stopped production for a while. As a matter of fact, I think it was this week that they announced that they went back to work. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that one doesn't shock me. Dune, I thought they were a lot further along on that one, so I would have thought that there wouldn't have been the need. And
it's in the
Matrix
can.
4 pushing forward, that's very weird to me too. So
Dune is most likely completely done, but
yeah.
It's a matter of making money. Scott, what do you think, man?
I think once you start to see professional sports a little bit bounce back with like people in the stands and stuff, that's when you'll start seeing the other social things.
That's your indicator. Up. Yeah,
that makes sense.
That's to me. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm surprised these streaming services aren't doing better because I figure with everybody staying home, I'm not a guy who has 15 streaming services, but I know if I wanted to, they're out there, to sign up to and stuff. So I thought they'd all be doing better at this point. But I mean, the truth is a lot of people are struggling financially. And, you think you can keep making it month to month. And then now we've been saying this now for 6+ months, since everything started getting crazy here in America. Yep. And now people are starting to go like, well, I need to cut back on this. I need to cut back on that. And I was just a old fashioned cable guy. And now I have the, satellite or whatever it is, not satellite TV, but just the antenna, the digital antenna. And I've learned that I don't really watch enough TV to matter. I only miss it during like sporting events. So I'm sure a lot of people who are just struggling to like buy groceries because a lot of more people are eating at home versus eating out, as well. But I mean, yeah, it's just as expensive, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's just like
it's tough all over. I mean, come on.
Let's say 6 months ago, if you went to the grocery store and you were struggling with money because of all this and you wanted to stock up, you might have charged something. Well, now all that stuff's hitting people and it's starting to hurt people.
Right.
And, I know in my situation with my job, I've been very blessed to continue to get full pay and everything else. And I know a lot of people out there that do not have that luxury. So none of this surprises me. Theaters aren't going to go away forever. So if somebody's out there saying that, even if they all shut down tomorrow, in 3 years, somebody else is going to come around. I mean, the rich people are good at being rich because they make money. They have the finances to support something and get it kickstarted and going. So therefore, there's always going to be money to be made. But the fact that we haven't seen like in a lot of NFL stadiums, I was really shocked that we haven't seen like, or even in pro wrestling, like me and my family want to go watch a wrestling event and they go, okay, like we have this algorithm where we can sit 4 of you here and then we can space you out so nobody else can sit here. And then the family of 6 can sit over here and the family of 2 can sit here. And while they might not have 20,000 people in the stands at a football game, I'm really shocked that we don't have 3,000. Now
AEW has been trying to do that the last couple of weeks. I think they've been up to like 750 in the audience.
Oh, really?
And
wow.
But I couldn't imagine having to group people up. It must be such a huge task every single week to do live TV.
And I know some football areas like college football, they've had people in the stands, but until it's consistent, that's where I look to first, because that's probably a lot of it. Well, it just depends on which person you are, but I know a lot of people who, really turn to sports as their escape, as well as, movies and stuff. But I could see the professional sports business, once they start letting in fans, I think maybe then we've kind of got over that hump, And I mean, can they keep that up? If this goes like this for 2 years, do they have enough revenue to keep paying millionaires to play football for us or basketball? I don't know. I don't know
I
that
mean,
answer.
you could make a case that basketball solved the issue. They've had they put those guys in a bubble, what they call the bubble, and they are almost through with their finals. And according to reports, there has been no one that's been in the bubble that has caught the
Right.
the ick, and so I mean, mission accomplished for those guys. Although I just read an article today where they're talking about, the owners of these teams really want to put people back in the stands again because they're losing so much money. So they're all trying to figure out that miraculous algorithm where they can at least get maybe 50% of the people into the stadiums but also keep them safe. And I don't know how easy that is.
Now, your question about these movies being backed up, that doesn't surprise me at all because they want to get the most bang for their buck. They've already paid for stuff or they're in the middle of paying for stuff. So, yeah, they're going to wait. They're going to wait till they can release it in China and everywhere else with no problems and make as much money as possible. So,
right.
That doesn't surprise me at all. And, in some ways, it's okay because they're probably not producing every little junky like troll movie or anything else that Doug has to sit through and go like, golly, my Lord, at least they can go watch. Exactly. So, maybe we'll get some better quality stuff and maybe less rehashes of movies. I don't know. I doubt it, but we'll see.
John says that Cineworld specifically named the move of the new Bond movie as the issue. And keep in mind, the new Bond movie was supposed to come out in what? March, April, something like that. I mean, it's been that long. Mike says the NFL did announce that they may suspend the season because of more players testing positive. I didn't know that, but I know that they've canceled some games and they've had some issues there.
Yeah, the reschedule for Kansas City, they got pushed back to Monday. I can't believe they still, because Kansas City had that first game of the season. They tried to do the crowd, and the crowd all decided to shift down because we're that kind of people.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
humans are stupid, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's like, I'm safe.
Kansas
I'm going to get down there, and then you've got but I mean, we had a lot of problems at our local university at OU where they have talked about how they're going to implement new rules and stuff to address the tailgating and people doing exactly what you're talking about, moving down, clustering up and stuff. People, particularly, let's say younger people feel like they're invincible. So they're going to do what they're going to do.
I really wish the world would just play along for just a while so maybe we can get past this, but oh well.
Walt says HBO Max's channels are a bit lacking. The CN and DC do not have all of what people really want to watch.
Is that Cartoon Network, I assume?
Yes.
Okay.
And I remember the other problem is that a lot of that stuff is still divided among, like, they still had that DC what was it called? Well, they had a different. They had their own DC app, and so instead of consolidating, when they opened up HBO Max, they had them all separated, and it was just a mess.
Yeah, put it all on there. I believe that they're moving that app to exclusively digital comic content.
Yes.
So, and I think that they're running that at like $8.99 or something. So if you want all of the digital content from DC, you can pay $8.99. That seems a little steep to me. Does it?
Yes.
To anyone else, does that sound like a lot?
Everything's expensive to me anymore, even a Big Mac meal. So I'm on your boat. I've become old where I gripe about food. So yeah, I'm gonna gripe about streaming service because I don't watch a lot of TV.
I think also HBO Max. They've talked about putting some anime on there. Maybe putting. I heard Crunchyroll. Maybe.
Yeah, Crunchyroll is on there. I had it.
They just need to. They just need to do it. I mean, it's, if they're putting little pieces of it in there, it's time for them to pull the trigger on it. I mean,
exactly.
With the streaming wars are no joke. So you gotta bring it, or people are gonna, that the cost of the monthly cost is right at or more than what Netflix is offering, and Netflix is offering quite a bit. So, like I said, you better bring it. Walt says they're taking their time, and the Cowboys had 25,000 in their stands this past weekend. What was it? What do they hold? 100,000 in that stadium?
They got a whole bunch. I'm sure it's close to that, if not that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so my thoughts on this. I'm the type of guy who's not too big a guy to say I told you so. I said a few weeks ago and intimated it a few months ago that they're going to take all of the stuff that's happening this year and they're going to push it to next year. And it was just simply looking at Tenet. If you look at
For sure.
If you look at how much Interstellar made, it made about $700 million globally, and Tenet just passed $300 million and will probably not make, I mean, it's been out for a while now. It will probably not make much more than that. That's not even half of what it made originally. And it cost them $200 million to make that. That's not going, I mean, that would drive accountants crazy in Hollywood to be making that sort of numbers. And everyone who has spent $200 million, I mean, like, you know, they made $1.1 billion on Captain Marvel. I'm sure that Marvel expected to make, I'm not saying they're going to, I'm just saying they expect for Black Widow to be making something on par of that. If I had to guess, I'd say it's going to make about 700 million, even in a good market. But they want that billion if it's possible, and they can't get it in this market. So everyone who's making a big movie, including Dune, including, you know, whatever, Batman, The Matrix, whatever you got, they all want, you know, a full featured market, and they don't want to take it in the shorts. So they're going to move it back. And who knows what we have coming up. I mean, we're not out of this damn year yet. So, you know, and we don't have a vaccine, and we're heading into the winter months, which means people are going to cluster together indoors, which is not so great. And so who knows what's going to happen here in the next few months.
Bro, hear me out. They need to take Trump's blood and inject it in all of us. It's like a super soldier serum.
That is an exceptionally terrible idea, Scott.
The only side effect is having an orange face.
Wow. I mean,
Wow.
None of that sounds good.
Okay, never mind.
None of that. I'm out. So anyway, I think that, you know, looking at sports is a good deal. I will say that recently the theater owners, the independent theater owners, lobbied Congress, the United States Congress, to get a little bit of you know, a little bit of the stimulus package, which apparently we're not going to get, because they figure that somewhere between 60 and 70% of the independent, smaller theaters are not going to make it through this. They're just not pulling in any money, folks. So, you know, we may lose some movie theaters in this thing. I think that AMC, you know, if they close down right now, AMC, Regal, you know, the big movie theaters will be able to come back in time, but they just can't pay people to, you know, they can't have more people in the, they can't have more employees in the concession stand than they have people coming to see movies. It's just not, doesn't make business sense. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it.
Now's the time to open up a drive-in.
Yeah, drive-ins are doing great. And Walmart has been showing movies in their parking lot. That's where we are, folks, is movies in the Walmart parking lot.
Ugh.
How about that? Mike says it's a terrible idea, Scott. Walt says that Crunchyroll and Max is a joke. It's a joke in your town. And Jerry says, yeah, the accountants and finance execs are making a lot of the decisions. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, no doubt about it. They said, we can't make any money like this, so let's just hold off. That's what you got. Does anyone else have anything to say on this subject?
No.
Look at that silence. The sound.
Hey, we said everything, right?
Of silence. All right. Well, we're going to go to our next section then. Hey, let's talk about our featured guest, Doug Wood. He's a comic writer. I'm going to talk a little bit about him, and then we're going to ask him a bunch of questions. Everyone's welcome to join in on that. Doug Wood is a disabled writer from Peculiar, Missouri. Doug's first published comic is from wow. It's going to be one of those days. I didn't drink enough coffee. Doug's first published comic is Leap M from Action Labs. His Comic Machine's Ghost was named a finalist for 2019 Best Short Comic by Platform Comics. Doug had a comic short in the Bonfire Topia anthology. Leap M, if you want to read it, is a one-shot sci-fi crime revenge story. And he currently has, which we talked about last week, a Kickstarter project called Ultramax. And I'm going to show that to you guys right now. And we are happy to announce that
It's
after
funded.
Last week, it is funded. So
Hey,
congratulations.
Yay!
That's a good deal. I'd like to say that we can take a little credit for that because it funded after
Yes.
after we pushed it on the show. I don't know if we had any effect, but I can say that I had some effect because I donated to that cause. So
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, glad to. I really like the idea. So Doug, to start off with, since we've got the Ultramax thing up on your Kickstarter page up, and let's see if I can get let's see, there is the address for that. Doug, tell us a little bit about that project, please.
Okay. Ultramax, it's going to be a full, complete story. It's 98 pages. The idea behind it, or the story behind it, is just like a nobody super villain henchman has killed the world's most famous superhero, and he's going to be going to jail. So he was worried about the death penalty because, I mean, that's the state he lives in. And so
Right.
he cuts the deal with the feds. So now he's entering into a prison without any powers where everybody else, normally does. And he's trying to avoid being found out he's a snitch before he goes and testifies at court. So I wanted to play
That's
around
a great
with
premise.
that. Thank you. I wanted to play around with that idea. We see a lot of supervillains getting arrested. You see a lot of supervillains prison break or just prison break movies in general. I just wanted to do something like kind of slice of life inside the prison, and what happens to a person when things are like this.
Yeah, great concept. How's it doing right now? You were looking for how much, and how much is it at?
We were hoping for 5,500. We're up to 6,000 now.
That's great. How long does it have to go?
Just the last 8 days now.
That's
pretty
still a
excited.
week.
We're trying to do a stretch goal. If we reach 7,000, we're going to do an extra little digital short story, about 8 pages long. We brought in some really 3 awesome guest artists that we're trying to do, and it's kind of inspired by Batman the Animated Series. There's an episode called Almost Got Him, where Joker, Catwoman, and Penguin are all sitting around, Killer Croc are all sitting around the poker table and talking about stories about how they almost got Batman. And we wanted to try to do that. Thought it would be fun, and just for an extra bonus, and hope we can get that to happen.
That's cool. One thing I like about it is it's one story, it's one and done. So it's a graphic novel. If you're interested in this, you're going to get the full story here. And plus, if you hit that stretch goal, you're going to get a little bit more.
Yeah. I listened to a lot of interviews from creators, and one was from Mark Millar. And what really he was stressing that he really liked to do stories that are contained, trying to do 4-chapter stories, get there, get the story told, and get out, and then just move on. They don't need, to keep continue and stuff like that, especially for us people like me that are starting out. You just try to get this story done.
You don't have to have stories for 75 years like Batman.
Right. Or Walking Dead for 200. Just something that's going to get there.
Yeah, I think that's a good strategy.
Doug, I noticed the book on the cover says book 1. Does that mean there's a possibility of like if you go back to this, you could do a book 2, or was that just for? I know even when a comic one shot comes out, they still label it number 1.
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of curious.
Because of how we're breaking them up into chapters, and we are offering the possible monthly release. So that would be like book 1, chapter 1, basically chapter 2, book 2.
Okay.
So it's a little confusing. I know you guys were trying to talk about it last week, but it basically is if you got the $10, you get the full book. You just wait until we're completely done. If you got the $15 one, we're releasing them out whenever they're finished in that moment. So just that $5 extra gets you the taste every month.
Right. It's always better to have the creator on because they're going to get everything right.
And then the $25 pledge, if I'm not mistaken from looking here, it's the digital PDF plus the printed trade paperback, or is that 4 separate comics?
It is the full package is all into the one book. You can we're gonna be getting it all printed out and collected. Since we passed the goal, it's happening. So there is going to be a physical book, and we're going to be shipping it out to people back at that pledge goal.
One of the things I thought was really interesting is that you said that you were specifically looking to pay the colorist.
Yes,
with the proceeds here. I think it's good to hear that you're paying the colorist, and I think it's also really the colorist is good.
Yes,
I mean you found someone that does a good job. If you look at the stuff, I'll put it back up again.
Yeah. Actually, artist
Michael
Picard, he's the one that went out and was really finding the colorist that we looked at, and when he found Anon, we both really were like, okay, this has got to be the guy. He was kind enough to come and do kind of like a kind of a test drive and see if it worked on Michael's art, because sometimes things in a collaboration maybe not gel. Just like in sports, some teammates are not going to be the best teammates for everybody. So he was a person that came in and was going to be a player, and he got us what we liked, and so we were like, okay, let's make this happen.
I mean, this is good. I mean, I don't have to tell you. You can see right there. That's good art.
Yeah, I'm really excited because Michael Pickard, he is a first-time comic artist. I just was was joking, saying, "Hey, who wants to draw my comic?" And he's like, well, "Let me take a look at it." And so I send him the script. He's like, "Oh," and he just sketched out this doodle. If you look at the cover, there's like a bulldog looking character there, and he's like, "This is my Killer Croc. This is what I got from when I was reading your script, and this is what I want to do." And I was like, okay, let's do this together. And he just had a vision for it right away just from reading the script, and he said he loved it.
Is this the artist right here?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Well, he says it. I mean, he's given you props too. He says it has an absolutely stellar script. So excited for you all to see the cliffhanger at the end of issue 1.
Yes. He's been really nice. We've been very great at collaborating. Some times when you get an artist on board, they just want to do the script. They just want to do it and get on and move on to the next job. Michael's been very good about collaborating with me, telling me where he wants things to go, what he likes to see, what we can fix to be better. And that's really awesome that he would be willing to really make the story better through his vision as well as just mine.
I like his work. It's good stuff.
Speaking of, I'm going to tell everybody out there right now, if you are thinking about backing this, now this thing has a estimated delivery of March 2021. And if you want something unique that you could give a gift for Christmas or somebody's upcoming birthday, I love that you have an option here for, and I'm going to say only $100 because I think that's fairly cheap to get something unique into a graphic novel such as this. You can get the printed edition, you can get the PDF version of the graphic novel, and drawn into this book. And I'm a big fan of Kickstarters that have a few of these things, and there's 6 of these left. So if you're out there and you're thinking like, man, like my wife or my husband loves comics, and this looks like something up his alley, how badass would it be to have like your image in there, and or even if you have a child or something, you could like, hey, I want to put my kid in here and something that.
Yeah,
I mean, I still
that's
love
a great
it.
idea.
In an issue of Savage Dragon, I wrote in and I talked about my children. And when it came out and it got published, I bought like 5 copies of it because my children are talked about in Savage Dragon. So, like, in a letter column, no less. So, the fact that you can get drawn into something that looks really professional. And, Doug, when I first saw this, to be frank, I was like, why is this even Kickstarted? This is like an Image book or a IDW or a Boom Studios book and stuff. So, like, that's high praise on your towards
Thank you.
So
we haven't tried anywhere yet. We just like let's just take a roll on ourselves and see what we can do. I didn't have very many people follow me at the time, so and Michael's just on Instagram, so his audience was small too. But we were like, let's give it a shot, and we're so happy that it's worked out, and so many people have come and helped out.
It's you know what? It's a testament to you put the thing together. You have a great concept. Your art's there, the colors there, and you're doing the promotion.
Trying.
Yeah, I mean, here you are.
Being sick,
so
but I'm trying to get out there.
I mean, you just said that you didn't have much of a platform. Is this the first time you've done a Kickstarter?
Yes, it is.
I mean. First time Kickstarter, you've pulled in 6,000 so far. That's not shabby.
Yeah. And then I got to talk about the next Kickstarter because I'm a crazy man.
That's all right.
Let's have it.
I'm putting together a huge collection. I am trying to be a publisher. I put together 24 teams. There's over 80 creators. There's 24 stories. Just you're getting a lot of stuff. I see a lot in the market, people saying, man, we want something different. The younger generations love manga. They love Shonen Jump. They love anime.
Sure.
And I said, why don't we have that over here? Why don't we have some kind of huge collection that has a bunch of different stories by big names to small names and see if we can get something to happen? And I don't know. Like I said, I didn't have any kind of platform. Wasn't followed by a lot of people. And I just started messaging people that were way above me and said, hey, would you be willing to try and help out some people that are, just getting their start? And so many people were receptive, and it was really awesome. And so I just on a whim gave it a shot, and this is really going to go forward. We're already at the art stage for almost every single story. We're going to be launching November 1st. So I hope people will come out because I think it's going to be a big deal.
What's
just because we have
it?
People from Image Comics, creators from Aftershock Comics, people from the Mad Cave, one of the talent winners just recently. We have this, and then we have, like I said, people that just needed a shot, people that might not have had an opportunity. We're trying to give them that deal. So I'm hoping we have an audience.
Yeah, give me the name for it.
It's going to be called Project Big Hype. I was joking around on Twitter saying I got this big deal. I'm hyping it up. This is so big hype. And when I said, hey, what should we name this thing? Everybody says, well, you're already saying big hypes. Just leave it at that.
Just call it that.
So that's what we ended up with. It's Project Big Hype. Don't look at that one. That one's for a different project. But we're getting more and more of the art up here soon. So I hope everybody excited.
Ooh, pro wrestling. I like that.
Yes, that one's coming next year too. Because I'm a crazy person.
You got a lot of stuff coming out. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I really like that. I like the site. It looks good. It's clean.
Thank you.
That's an awesome deal. You also have another thing that's already out. Let's talk about Leap In.
Okay. This is something I started way back in 2009. I just had this weird idea of the prison system. Everybody says, man, it's overpopulated. There's so many issues with it. What can we do? And I had this just far out sci-fi idea of what if there's this machine that ages you to your sentencing date? What kind of repercussions to somebody that maybe gets framed for murder and they get pushed forward to their date? They're you go in, today's Tuesday. That's what I'm saying, but it's Tuesday. You're in there for a couple hours in the machine. You're out. It's still Tuesday, but you're 40 years older.
Wow.
You had a VR chip implanted in your head, so you feel the full 40 years of your sentencing date. You've had a rehabilitation in your mind, and but what if you were framed and you want to see that person suffer? So it's kind of a twofold revenge story. There's revenge for him that he's looking for, and
Sean, go ahead and bring that up again. That's good.
Revenge for the person he's going after because of circumstances of when they were in the military together.
So how can people get a hold of that?
Right now, there's two ways. It's on Comixology. There's also Amazon. It's on Amazon because Amazon owns Comixology now.
Sure, yeah, that's the same deal.
Yeah, and so we were lucky enough. I had an original artist. If you saw that Project Big Hype, the big banner, that was the original artist for this. He was a super busy artist. He had so many projects get announced that I said, Action Labs, the publisher, I said, please let me find another artist. And they said, sure, but we get final approval. And I sent out an ad and Matt responded. And man, I'm so glad. So many people said that the story is really better because of that art. So
you can see it there on Comixology. That's available right now.
Yes.
Doug, I don't buy digital comics.
I understand.
I'm 46. I don't buy digital comics. I want to smell them, touch them, feel them, taste them. How? I think, my generation's dying out. So I think like the younger kids do download comics and stuff. Are you seeing the difference between the 20-year-olds versus the 46-year-olds since you have your actual comic on Comixology?
It's hard to say. I don't know if it's hey, I have this comic on Comixology, and that's the reason why Ultimax is doing better. But I know how much we've sold on digital comics, and I would say I'm still doing better physical comics right now.
Okay.
We wanted to do a physical run of Leap-In. Unfortunately, it's up to the publisher. They get to decide what the threshold of whatever sales we get before we get to have a print run. And so we're bugging them all the time because we've heard that we're selling really well. So we're hoping we'll get that chance to have a print run.
Well, that's good. I asked that question just because, everybody we know that either self-publishes or whatever, I don't think they're in a digital format. So therefore I can never ask that question. Like, hey, is there a lot more people downloading books than I think? So I'm pretty sure my answer is way more than I think, because like I said, I'm the old school guy. Probably Dirk and Sean are the same way with me. They'd rather go. I mean, even if you offered it to me for $4 in person or 99 cents to download, I'm gonna pay the $4 just to get the physical copy. So
yeah, I understand.
I actually download quite a bit.
Do you, Sean? Okay.
I'm a prodigious digital comics reader too. So
okay, well,
yeah.
I'm obviously wrong about them. So
I started out, I was a big fan of the digital comics, but as it went by, I just got frustrated because I felt like digital comics should be less. It should be the 99 cents.
Absolutely.
And so I went back to the physical copy because for the same price, I felt like I should own the physical thing.
Right.
I don't read. I can't read prose on a screen, but I can for comics. Just something about me. So I totally understand wanting the physical thing.
I got into it because, much like you're saying, instead of spending, $6 for a comic, it would be on sale on Comixology for 99 cents.
Yeah.
and I gathered quite a few comics in that fashion. There's also a lot of art books and whatnot on there that would normally cost you, anywhere between $50 to $75.
Oh, absolutely.
I picked it up for 10. So it's really, like you say, it's kind of balancing that price for what you're getting. Being a digital copy, I can download. I've got it on my computer, as opposed to it just being in the cloud or whatever. I feel a little bit more secure with that. But like Scott said, I'm very much the same. I like to have a physical. If I'm going to be spending $30 on a book, I want that book in my hand. I want to smell those fresh cut pages and that really stale ink. And I've got to have that tangible. A lot of movies. I don't download a whole lot of movies. I have a wall of Blu-rays and DVDs, because if I'm going to have a movie, I will have a movie, something that I can actually play with, even though probably all of my stuff will be obsolete within 10 years. But anyway,
but you'll be able to pull them up whenever you want to. That's
but
always
I'll be
the
able to pull them,
frustration.
And if they turn off the internet, for some reason, you'll still have them.
Which has happened many a time.
Oh my God. That's a separate rant in itself. Oh my gosh.
I do both. I do both digital and I will go to, I will try out new things, picking up individual issues. I've gotten to the point now where I kind of prefer getting graphic novels so that I have the whole thing and all of the additional artwork, the behind the scenes stuff, all of the letters and, the alternate covers. You get it all in the graphic novel, which is awesome.
And usually cheaper at price too.
It's usually cheaper. Absolutely. And you can read it, all at one time. There are some comics that I will pick up every individual issue. But digitally, it tends to be cheaper. If I read something in a catalog or someone mentions something and I'm interested in it, I can download it immediately. And I am on the Comixology Unlimited plan. So like last weekend, I was talking about the Red Sonja book that it was put out by Dynamite, and I read that for free. If I had to buy it, it would have cost me $75. So free versus $75 is a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Not to get on a tangent, guys, but I was talking with somebody else about,
You say that like we never get on a tangent.
Well, no, you were talking about trade paperbacks, and I'm a big sucker, especially if you go into a comic shop and they have, all these trade paperbacks are half price. I even bought some that I normally wouldn't buy when I went up to Chicago recently. But I think, am I crazy in saying that, if a comic is meant to be in a trade paperback to begin with, it reads fine. But when you have a monthly comic, let's say a 6-issue miniseries or even a 12-issue miniseries, and it's meant to come out monthly, I think there's some magic to be had from when you pick up the book on the 5th of the month, you read it, and you really soak it in and you think about it, and then you tell your friends about it, then you might flip back through it because you're like, I remember that really cool scene with Adam Strange or something like that. And then then it comes out the next month on the 6th and you go pick it up. And to me, there's some magic in between the comics, whereas sometimes you pick up a trade that came out monthly and you read it and go, I don't get what the hype was. This kind of sucks. Yeah. And you might talk to me who read it, I picked it up monthly in the floppies, and I'm like, no, that was amazing. I remember how amazing it was because I created it in my head. When you read it all at once and you go, it kind of was blah,
Right.
I remember reading a tweet. It's like, oh man, just to be one of those kids that picked up Alan Moore's Watchmen instead of getting it in a trade, just because you had to wait every week for that big, yeah.
Exactly.
So,
and maybe
that was before the internet, but you would go to your comic book store and you would talk to everyone about the last issue. That would, the comic book stores are, the geeky cheers, and you would go talk to everyone about the latest issue of that. And I don't know if people are still doing that or not, but they're definitely doing that on the internet now. That has become a much wider deal. Let me get to a few comments that people have had. Ronnie says, howdy. Walt says that he can't wait to read Ultramax. So maybe he's also donated to that as well. Jerry says it sounds really interesting. Walt says, preach, Sean, preach. And Mike
That's because Walt owns every DVD too ever created.
Yes, he
Sean
does.
and Walt are keeping Best Buy around.
That is that is
Fact.
so true.
Fact. And that's okay.
The more you know. Okay, so Mike has an interesting thing that he brings up here. He says something to be said is how the price dip for digital could affect the page rate for creators, something that we're all concerned with. But that said, there is no reason digital should be the same price as the physical because, yeah, you don't have to print it, you don't have to ship it, you don't have to store it. It should be cheaper. But, I mean, obviously, every one of us is a creator, so we're definitely concerned about, creator rates.
Sure.
That's a concern. What do you think, Doug?
I was going to say, I don't know. It's that thing about like if you put it out there at 99 cents, maybe you get more sales. Can you get more sales if pricing it cheaper than you are pricing it normal? I don't know. Can you make up the difference?
I mean, that's always the big question with pricing stuff is, if you go down, are you going to make up those sales? Or if you go up, is it going to, create a premium for you where you can, reinvest in stuff? And, the answer is who knows? You kind of have to experiment.
I mean, I think Image has done great with like their trade paperbacks. So the first like story arc comes out at only $10. I mean, I can't tell you how many people at the comic shop go, well, I don't even know what this is, but it's only $10 and I get 6 issues. And, then they come back and they buy the second volume and stuff. So it works for them. And I'm really surprised. And maybe more companies do it. And I just don't see
a lot
sales.
of stuff on Comixology. The first issue is free. They just give it to you because the second that you read through that first issue, at the end of it, it goes, hey, do you like this? Here's the second issue. And then, you're caught up in the story and you can literally buy it and download it right there. So
Gotcha.
that's kind of, I mean, that's sometimes the marketing plan for that. Not everyone can do that, but that's, what some people are doing. Mike says that at his local comic store, more gamers than comic guys on the average. And I think that's happening more and more.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to survive, man, you need to sell your Magic cards, your board games, and your comics. Otherwise, you might be a relic.
My two stores local are not that way, and I can't believe how long. One is just a new store, so maybe they'll have to adjust to that reality eventually. But another one, he's been around since I think he was talking to the Cartoons Kayfabe guys. He's been right there since the bubble burst. So he's man, I can't believe he stuck around that long during the low points of comics and was able to not have to pick up board games and Magic the Gathering cards and stuff like that.
Well, I think finding those shops that are just pure comic book stuff, I always call them, it's a comic shop like from the 80s. That's how I usually tell my friends. You'd really like it. It's like a comic shop from the 80s. They have back issues to look through and old stuff, that you haven't seen in years. And I mean, I love those shops, but I want comics to stay around for at least as long as I live. So if they need to sell Magic cards, I get it. So.
I've got another couple of questions for you, Doug. Since we didn't really kind of go into your past, I'm curious as to about what was the first comic that really spoke to you back when you were younger?
Oh man. Okay, so my first comic, I lived in Colorado at the time. I went home to visit family in Missouri, and I was traveling back with the family friend, and we stopped at a gas station, and he said, "Let me get you guys something." He brought the little kid a Sonic, and he got me a Punisher. I was way too young to have that Punisher, but it really it spoke to me, and that's what I got really hooked on was I think it was called Miami and Heat, and Punisher's in the rain. He's got I can't remember what guns, but he's got the big guns. I still have the issue and everything, and and then my the next one is I remember I was big fan of the Spider-Man cartoon, and boy, Venom really was something. And so I talked my parents going into the comic book store for the first time, and I said, let me get this Venom comic. You know, my parents were not into villains, of course, so they were like, and I was like, no, it's just Spider-Man. It's just Spider-Man. He's just wearing a different costume. It's okay. Not. He had big green tongue sticking out with all like the juices and stuff. So I don't know why they believe
scary
me,
character.
but yeah. So yeah, that one really because I think he eats somebody in that issue. So that really just kind of spoke to me, I think. And
I think we've all been there where our parents like kind
yeah.
of judge us a little bit, but they're like maybe happy you're reading and doing something different.
Right.
I remember a story. I don't know if y'all remember Faust by Tim Vigil.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Oh my gosh,
that's next level.
Our buddy Robert, who's part of Ranking Studios, he worships pretty much Tim Vigil, and I think it was Faust #2 that came out, and we couldn't find it anywhere. But we walked into a New World Comics here, and they wouldn't sell it to us because I think we were 14, 15 at the time.
Oh yeah.
And my dad was with us, so I had to like just kind of man up and, hey, Dad, can you buy this comic for us? It's kind of adult. And my dad, like, I was straight up with him, and he bought it for us. And I remember, like, holy crap, he bought this for us. How cool is that? And then I remember him looking through it, and I was just like, oh God, I'm dead. I'm dead. He's going to kill me. I won't see my issue, but Robert got his. And he looked through it, and he said, just don't let your sister see this, and you better keep and he was like, you know, be mature about this. If I'm going to give you a chance to act mature, be mature. So
that's pretty cool.
I've been there.
Good for your dad.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing your dad like I do, I'm kind of that.
Isn't it a shocking story?
Surprises me, yeah.
Hey, man,
he's kind of an old school guy, you know.
Anytime I did something wrong, Dad caught me. So I remember when all my friends ditched our senior year, and or maybe it was the end of 11th grade, and I just straight up told him, I was like, "Man, everybody's gonna act sick, and I don't want to lie to you because I know I'll get caught." And I was like, "Can I stay home tomorrow?" And he's like, "If your schoolwork's up, and because you were honest with me, and I got the day off." So
that's the way to approach someone like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Doug, the other question that I have for you is, how did you get into this, and how long ago was it? Because you got a lot of projects. You got something on Comixology. You got a big project coming up here in a month or something, and you got a successful Kickstarter. What's your origin story?
Okay, so I flapped around for a ton of time. There was they had a San Diego Comic-Con panel on TV, and Robert Kirkman was talking, and he was talking about, hey, go if you want to be a creator, go check out Pencil Jack and a bunch of other things. And I said, what is that? And I looked at it, and I found this big website for creators teaching people how to write scripts, how to draw comics, how, you know, resources, and I wrote something up based on sitting there for like, I think even a year. I sat there, I stopped for a while to try to figure out how to do it properly and try to take in what other people's advices that they were giving to other people. And I sent out a script. A guy who was I can't remember his name, but he was a big time creator, and he willingly took and edited out my script, even though it was nonsense. And man, it gave me such a rush, and I wanted to keep going. And so yeah, it's kind of
what is that? I don't even know what that is. What is that?
A lot of people, like, if The Walking Dead, I'm pretty sure, like, I think Charlie Allard and some other people really got their starts at Pencil Jack, and it was just,
I really like that guy.
Yeah, I feel like that was who it was. Maybe, anyways, it just, you know, a lot of people got started in forums like that before, you know, there was Discord, comic creators groups.
I was about to say, it looks a little old school.
Yeah. So I did that for a long time. You know, I was a kid. I was, you know, early.
Good job, Sean.
20s, and I was a mess, and I didn't understand the process of how to keep artists on board. So there's a lot of ghosting. There's a lot of misfires. So even if you look at my Instagram, the first huge chunk is just failed projects, and it's a graveyard. It was.
Sure.
And so I I rededicated myself. I tried to do that for so long on my own, basically. Even though I was on that website, I wasn't making friends. I wasn't talking to people. I wasn't trying to do things. And so I finally said, okay, I'm going to try Discord groups. And I tried that in the last year. And that's how I really got taken off, because people said I'm really nice. And they liked being around me.
Hey, that's part of it.
Yeah. And that really helped, was because people started to get to know who I am. And then from there, being a part of the groups, I started hearing about opportunities too, and that was that platform contest. And I saw an artist on Twitter, and I said, "Hey, you want to do something with me?" And we did up a 4-page story, and we submitted, and we were named finalists for this thing. And so from that, I started meeting more and more people, and so I just keep slowly getting lucky. Very weird, because I'm not doing anything the right way, but it keeps happening for me.
Look, I think that's a really good story. I think people need to maybe take note of what you're saying, which is that you laid the groundwork. You started looking for different groups, and you've mentioned several times that you reached out to people that you felt like you didn't have any right talking to.
Yes.
But you also approach them in a respectful way. You're a good guy. I mean, that's going to get you, maybe be able to kick in some doors.
Yeah.
And the proof is in the pudding. You've got the stuff. Your work's out there.
Thank you. It's been really surprising, but I'm happy. Like I said, I think I even tweeted today. I was like, I thought I was going to be done in comics by now. I just keep getting these opportunities, and so far, my 2021, I have 3 projects. I could even be starting to talk about another Kickstarter project on top of that. So I'm
nice.
You're busy, man.
It's super weird.
That's awesome. Walt says that the best marketing for a comic ever was Marvel's G.I. Joe. Walt is a big fan of that, but you're right.
Me too. My babysitter as a baby was mom put me in front of the G.I. Joes, and probably why I joined the army and jumped out of airplanes for a living was because I watched G.I. Joes.
That's funny. Mission accomplished. I mean, if you want to get young men interested in the military, then that's the purpose of G.I. Joe in the first place. Let's see. Mike says, "Oh yeah, it's not too often to get caught in a good conversation about comics." He's being facetious, I believe. Walt is giving us the googly eyes with Faust, and Mike says Faust was a whole new level of comic at the time.
It sure was. I don't know if that thing ever wrapped up, but it was.
I don't know either.
I think Robert said it did finish with the last issue, I think. Or maybe they're working on the last issue. I don't know.
I watched his interview on Cartoonist Kayfabe, but boy, I can't remember if they were talking about it being finished or not. He is an interesting guy, and they say he doesn't really talk very much, but they got him to speak, and it was really
crazy.
He doesn't have a lot of interviews or anything out there. He kind of lets his work speak for itself.
Yeah.
I will say of all of the comic professionals I've ever met, he was probably the most brutal. As far as looking at my portfolio,
but brutal, but constructively brutal, right?
Yes. It wasn't. He wasn't cutting me to the quick to hurt me. He was literally destroying me so that I could rebuild myself
in his image.
And just to be clear, we're talking about Tim Vigil, right?
Tim Vigil, right?
Tim Vigil.
Okay.
He was, and I will also add that of all of the people that have reviewed my portfolio over the years, of all the professionals that have reviewed my portfolios over the years, I took his most constructively, and I appreciated his most because everything that he offered me was helpful. It did alter my art and moved me forward, as opposed to a lot of others. Well, this looks great, but we need to do some more work. more work on what? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas he told me how to ink, what tools to use, what paper to use.
He's old school.
Research this, research that. I mean, he was fantastic. But you're right. He is not a talker. he likes to sit at from what I've seen. He sits at his booth and he works. And he might say something to you, but he's mostly just working. And but yeah, there you go.
I got a question for you, Doug, and it's gonna probably come off sounding weird, and I don't even really know how to ask it correctly, perhaps, but I'm gonna ask it anyways because I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna let you answer it. In your bio, you let everybody know right up front, I'm disabled. Why?
Well, for one, because I'm awkward. Like I was telling you guys before this started. I have a lot of trouble with talking, with memory, with things, and so when I start out like with new creative relationships, I always tell them, "Hey, my memory's really bad. If I forget something, if I'm repeating myself too often, please just kick me and yell at me. I'll try to do better." And so I got to the point where I was like, okay, I can't keep giving everybody the spiel because one, I'll forget to give the spiel. So I just started telling everybody, hey, I'm disabled, please. I'm not looking for pity or anything. I'm just understand that I'm trying, but there's some faults.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was curious because we talked before we ever went live, and you talked about your child and stuff, and I took it as the perspective of like, as a father, you always want your children to do better than you, and you want to like show them like, hey, just because don't let this hold you back, you can still go chase dreams or this or that. So that's how I took it, but I just wanted to hear your perspective on that. I didn't know that you had memory problems or couldn't speak well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for all I know, you were sitting there in a wheelchair. I don't know, so I don't even know, like the whole time I'm going like, really, what is his disability? So like,
Yeah.
but
I had that problem. I go to like, I have handicap tags. And so like I park there and what are you doing parking there? And I was like, well, I have the tag.
no.
There's obviously a reason I'm parking here.
right.
But yeah, it's okay, now I'm going to start doing it, but because I'm focusing on it. But
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
No, you're fine. This is, like I said, this is probably the most I'm able to speak. So I'm really happy that this is going well.
Yeah, Doug, you did great on this thing. I mean, you've been a great guest for us here for sure. Does anyone have any other questions for Doug before we move on to the next section?
Yeah, I want to know how old you are. I'm just curious.
I'm going to be 35 here real soon.
I know it doesn't matter. I'm just really like curious. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Would you like to know his social security number and his blood type or anything else, Scott?
Positive.
you just won a contest, Doug. If you'll just hand me some information after the show, you can claim your reward.
I can do that. I can do that.
No, I'm always curious on people who are like way more motivated than me to do their comics and dreams. So like, I mean that in a meaningful way. So like,
Sure.
see kids, get off your butt and do these things at 35 and don't wait till you're 46.
Yeah, well, it's
right,
the
but
same
you know
thing.
what? It's still not too late if you're 46 either.
Yeah, like I said, there's times where you're like, why did I waste so much of the 20s? I was doing it,
Wow.
But you
how long do we have?
wasted so much.
You guys ready to go for midnight? I could talk about blowing the 20s for the next few hours. Yeah. And I, probably a lot of people do that.
Sure.
If I had not blown the 20s like I did, I'd be 10 years ahead of where I am now, for sure. Yeah. Mike says that talking about portfolio reviews, that was me with IDW when they looked at my portfolio. He said they were not very constructive. Although I tell the story of, I'm not going to remember who it was.
Archie Goodwin.
Thank you. Archie Goodwin sat with Mike Kennedy for a long time and talked to him during San Diego Comic Con.
that's so
and
cool. At San Diego, wow.
Yes. And I mean,
He's
Archie
busy,
Damn
so
Goodwin
yeah.
spent a lot of time talking to Mike about his artwork and about what to improve it and stuff. Not many people get someone of that quality to sit down and talk to him for an extended period of time. I think
At
that's
that busy of a con.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's
lucked
a hell
into
of a
going
deal.
a few years before it got super gigantic, where we got in with our little art, our professional badge from our one published art book, and it was good times.
Yeah, back in the days when you could
Before Hollywood totally took over.
You could easily get a creator badge just because, you published something that you copied off over at Kinko's or something and stapled together.
And the table probably wasn't $200.
You could get a creator badge easily and rub elbows with the big boys and girls. And
I'm still waiting for Dave Johnson to publish something that looks like me from 25 years ago.
Yeah, Dave. You took a picture. Who was it? Was it Sean? Were you there?
I think it was me, you, and Robert, because Robert had long hair at the time. Dave Johnson's the artist who did.
What did he say? I'll let you.
Yeah,
You're better at stories than I am. Tell the story.
At the time, I knew Dave Johnson because I think he was doing either Penthouse Comics or something like that. Believe it, at one time,
Super Patriot, wasn't he doing covers for Super Patriot?
He was doing interiors for Super Patriot. He did several covers for other books.
Yeah, Joe.
He was doing all sorts of stuff. Dave Johnson's a great artist, but I remember I was over there going you're only charging this much for it. I remember telling him, I was like, how much for a sketch? And I think he said $10. And I said, dude, you are crazy. I said, sign me up. I said, you need to change this after you're done with my picture. And sure enough, when we came back by later, he upped it to $30, 20 or $30 at the time, which was a lot of money back in the 25 years ago. But I remember he saw me, Robert, and Dirk, and he's like, guys, you mind if I take a picture? And we were like, why? He goes, dude, y'all are the perfect rogues gallery. And we were like, hell yeah, I'll take a picture of us so we can be in one of your comics. And
he said we looked rough or something.
Yeah, something like that. And he pulled out one of those instant cameras, the throwaway cameras, and he took a picture because that's how long ago it was. And we were so happy. And I'm pretty sure that was his trick to get us to buy everything he did for the next couple of years. Hoping to look for us and go, is that supposed to be me? I have no idea, Yeah. So I'm still waiting for that moment. But I mean, golly, San Diego Comic-Con was amazing. Now we're tangenting. I'm sorry.
Super tangent. That's a good story. Let's see. Ronnie says, great getting to know you a bit, Doug. You seem like a really solid guy. Jerry says, thanks, Doug, for sharing.
Thank you.
Mike says, Archie was the best person to talk. Come on, man. Archie Goodwin during the 90s. Wow. That's crazy. That's a great deal. Walt was talking about meeting Simon Bisley not too long ago.
Too. Yeah.
And he says that he befriended his mom. That doesn't surprise me. Marianne says, oh, whoa, what did I miss? You missed a lot. This has been...
Yeah, you're going to have to go back and rewatch.
Yeah, this has been a good episode. You need to check it out for sure. Anyone who's interested in creating comics should probably watch this episode, I would say. And she's crying. It's okay. There's always replays.
There's always YouTube.
That's right, YouTube. And Mike says he met Dave Johnson at his first San Diego, and he was a really nice guy. And such an amazing artist. That guy's still one of the best.
Since we're talking...
Was he part of Gaijin Studios at that time?
Yes, he was. I believe so. Pretty sure.
And I so he was with those Gaijin guys.
He was with Cully Hamner and Jason Pearson.
Yeah, he was.
Stelfreeze.
Since we're kind of tangenting on San Diego Comic-Con before it became Super Hollywood, people got to know, man. At the time, Dirk was working for the comic store, Planet Comics, and I remember we were all going out there, and they let us all have retailer badges. So we got the experience of going into the con several days before because everybody thought we worked at Planet Comics. And it was amazing to have all these publishers. You walk by and they see your badge and they're like, oh, you got a store?
Yeah, they unloaded.
And take some free comics. Because the first time I went out there, I think I went out there with $125. I mean, I remember looking at the t-shirt, and Sean whips out his magic credit card and goes, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it," because I couldn't afford it that first year at all. And probably Sean would have bought me a lot more things if I would have acted like I wanted them at the time, but I had to eat. But man, going to the retailer side and have all these small publishers hand you first issues and just comics was amazing. I came back with literally bags full of books. I mean,
I'm envious.
Near 100. And I remember hitting those Image booths at the time because Image was such a big thing. They had all these posters, and especially Rob Liefeld's group over at Extreme Studios. They were just making posters like, "Hey, we're going to have a team called the Allies, and it's going to be a new book." And you never saw it, but we got this cool poster.
That's
I
true.
literally decorated my room for about 10 years with all the posters from those 2 Comic Cons we went to.
Sure.
Just to get the freebies, because they thought I ran a store, and I realized about day 2 of that couple days, experience that, like, I should just act like I do own the store and everything. And I was like, well, I don't know if this will sell at my store. And then, oh, well, here, take this trade paperback. Man, I milked the experience, and that was one of the funnest, like, 6 days of my life as a young comic fan. So
Yeah.
I really wish it was still exactly like that. And I'm sure it's still fun for some people, but I know, like, it's kind of Hollywood driven nowadays.
I went to several conventions as a retailer as well, and one of the things that I cherished was getting a double black Sandman 50 cover. So it was flat black and like a shiny black. It was the coolest damn thing ever. They load you up with merch that's insane. I also remember that they took us out on I believe the Chicago Cubs. It was either in Kansas City. Maybe in Kansas City. Anyway, we went to a Major League Baseball stadium, and we got to go out on the field and screw around. It was Marvel that did this. It was the Marvel presentation that did their whole presentation on Major League Baseball field. They put all the stuff up on the Jumbotron or whatever, all of their stuff. And then at the end of it, they gave us this whole card set or something that was from Topps. And like I said, they let us go. They fed us, and they let us roam around the stadium. We had the run of the stadium, got to go out onto the field and stuff. It was insane. I mean, that's the sort of stuff they did back, in the 90s. Let's see. Mike says that he met Dave at this first San Diego and was a really nice guy. Marianne, I guess, is going to check out this episode. I hope everyone does. It's a good one. Mike mentions Doug Wildey. Anyone familiar?
I think he means Wheatley. Doug Wheatley.
I don't know.
Doug Wheatley did some comics back during that time.
We're talking about Dave Johnson. He says Cully Hamner was his whipping boy at the time.
Isn't that funny?
Reverend Dave.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing all right now. And Marianne was laughing because she didn't know that we had moved it to Wednesday. Yeah, it's been a kind of a long road to get Doug. We tried for 3 weeks to get Doug here. I'm glad we did.
So
No. It's not entirely your fault. Some of
me
it's technical
sick,
stuff and
my
you got sick,
family.
and then technical stuff, and then yesterday we had to move it because a couple of us had stuff going on. So
yeah,
anyway.
my daughter got to play at a football game, so in band, and you can't miss those things when your kids are only young so long. So
Doug Wildey is the Johnny Quest creator.
Oh, okay. We're sorry, Mike.
Oh, I should have.
Shows what we know.
Yeah.
We're getting schooled. All right. I got to get us out of this segment, move on, or we're going to be here till midnight. We're going to talk about our 20s until midnight. All right. Well, maybe.
Well, you got to press the button to get us on.
Man, I know. Holy cats. All right, it's on blast. We're going to talk about stuff that we saw or read or something that we consumed or whatever. Anything that that we've been enjoying lately. We want to talk about it. So it's on blast, and for that, first I'm going to Sean.
I have props.
Of course you do. That's awesome.
I have props. With this being October, the Halloween season. One of the things that I am revisiting is my original Alien graphic novel,
Ooh, I didn't
published by
know
Heavy Metal
you
Magazine.
had that.
Silly man.
I would very much like to see that.
I'm sure you would. No, it is by far one of my favorite graphic novels ever. Illustrated by Walter Simonson, with I believe the story by Archie Goodwin. So that's one, and another one which came in the mail just the other day. So I wanted to open it up on the show.
Wow.
To impress everyone with my purchasability here.
Oh, I thought you meant your packaging opening abilities.
Yeah.
Mike says he loves that Alien book.
It's one of my favorites, and in fact, my mother would not let me see Alien in the theater when this came out.
Mine wouldn't either.
I was 9, so but mom and dad dad had introduced me to numerous horror films, so whatever. But mom wouldn't let me see the movie. So whenever dad, who spent an ungodly amount of time at the bookstore, saw the Alien graphic novel, he said, "My kid's going to want that." And he brought that home. And it was probably one of the greatest days ever. First graphic novel I ever had. And I love it dearly. So I'll be revisiting that, as well as my recent purchase of, that's right, Creepshow, the graphic novel. This is the adaptation of the movie, illustrated by the late great Bernie Wrightson, based on the movie by George Romero. If you have not read Creepshow, the graphic novel, I highly recommend picking that up, for no other reason than the magnificent illustrations of Bernie Wrightson. Absolutely wonderful. I have had this previously, but it was destroyed in a flood. So I thought this month is a great time for me to repurchase this book and show it off on the show.
That's cool.
So that is what I am in the midst of reading. I'm watching so many movies I'm not even going to mention, and for the season. And there you go.
All right. Scott, we're going to you next.
I have no props. I've been trying to catch up on comics, and just behind because of life, being, dad, have things to do. But I have caught up on, ever since John Hickman, kind of Marvel let him kind of respawn the X-Men universe. I've been trying to read all the books, and they have a checklist in the back and like an order you can read them in. And I told myself from the very beginning I was going to try to read them in that order, specifically because I'm sure there's a reason he puts that back there. Because I don't know, I see Hickman as a writer that thinks long-term instead of short-term. And here we are, a new crossover for all the X books is called X of Swords, and it just started, and it's pretty good stuff so far. So if you haven't read X-Men in a long time, I still highly suggest going back to the beginning of some of the stuff that Hickman did to kind of relaunch X-Men into the 2020 era. And it's been good so far. So I've been just catching up on that and various other comics. But I still recommend the X-Men stuff's really good. And this is coming from a guy who doesn't really want to buy X-Men. I mean, I'm looking for any chance to kind of drop all the titles and move on. But here I am buying all of them still. So there you go.
All right. Doug, you're up.
Okay, a couple of things. So me and artists for Leap M are trying to work on our sophomore project together, and so I've been reading a lot of Batman and Batman homage characters, stuff like Marvel's Nighthawk. There was a recent run by, oh man, maybe Al Ewing? I can't remember. It's so good. If you've never taken a look at that, you really should. And rereading Moon Knight, the Jeff Lemire. I can't
Lemire,
pronounce it.
yeah.
Yeah. That run, it's wild. Moon Knight is a character who is Batman, but crazy is the simple pitch to people.
Right.
And trying to figure out what is real in this story and what is in Moon Knight's mind it's great. And the artist is kind of a local guy, and oh man, he has the same last name as me and mostly, but I can't think of his name. Oh my gosh.
Ashley Wood?
No, not Ashley Wood. Oh man, he's
Brian Wood?
No, that's the writer. I'm not gonna remember his name. That's it. Anyways, so I've been reading a lot of Batmans, basically,
Right.
because we're working on that project. And then I also want to recommend Peter Cannon Thunderbolt, if anybody's read that.
The
It's,
DC stuff?
It's it's the one from By Dynamite. It's the
Okay, I've read that
it's-
too.
Yeah, it's Kieran Gillen's kind of answer to Watchmen and the deconstruction of superheroes,
Oh, okay.
and it plays with the format incredibly. There's just so much going on. So if you have read Watchmen, it's going to mean a whole lot more. It can stand alone by itself, I feel like, but you got to be kind of a comics reader to get where the most out of it, I think.
Right. All right, cool. Well, speaking of things that we've consumed, I am consuming these right here. Blue Diamond, wasabi, and soy sauce.
That sounds disgusting.
Oh, listen.
That does sound disgusting.
Let me see if I can break this down for you. It starts with almonds, okay?
I'm
And
already
then they put soy sauce in it.
I'm
Okay.
okay with the soy sauce. It's the wasabi that
then-
would kill me,
They put wasabi in it.
bro.
And that is absolutely delectable.
dude, he eats like pickled flavored pork rinds. I mean,
I do that.
nothing that he eats is normal.
Well, we won't have to talk about all his stomach issues. So I think he
Wow.
reaps what he sows.
Wow.
It's that wasabi. It's killing you, man.
I love it. It's absolutely wonderful. Besides that, one of the things that I do is I've been kind of going back and watching some older anime stuff. And lately, I've seen episodes of this. It's not like I haven't seen it, but I've never seen it from the beginning. And that's Samurai Champloo. And Samurai Champloo, I mean, most people that are watching this have probably already seen this, but if for some reason you haven't seen this animated series, it's available on Hulu. It is such a good combination of so many things. The animation is amazing on it. It's dynamic. It's really quality animation. Back when they used to do hand-drawn animation, the characters are spectacular. I love the characters. All of the main characters are great in this. The individual storylines on this show are really well done. And they do this thing where it is a combination of feudal Japan with modern music. And it's just so cool. This is one of the coolest series ever created. I've never seen it from the very beginning, and now I'm watching it from the beginning, and it's so much better if you watch the whole thing, because these characters, they evolve over time and all of this stuff happens. I've really, really enjoyed Samurai Champloo, and if you haven't seen it for some reason, do not walk, but run to go see it, because it's really, really excellent. We've got some comments here. I can imagine what's coming up here. I will say that I'm having some problems. This thing is acting so goofy for some reason. Walt, it's cleared up. Walt says he's not an almond guy, but he likes just straight wasabi. That's next level, dude. Sean, too much sharing. And Walt says Samurai Champloo is great. Does anyone have anything they want to add on Blast, or are we ready to go on?
I'm trying to Walker. Is that the writer for the Nighthawk series you're talking about?
Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, David Walker. Yes.
Okay.
It's
I've
so
been
good.
searching it. So
good job.
It's
Good job,
just
Scott.
I think only 6 issues.
6 issues.
Yeah, and man, it's just it's different, you know. It's and Ramon.
It's Villalobos.
Yeah, he's kind of been blowing up lately. He was supposed to do the Wildstorm reboot. Unfortunately, that didn't fell through when the writer had problems. But yeah, he's an outstanding artist, and you get to see some of the crazy creativity and I think some Frank Quietly.
Oh, I like that.
Vibes from him. So it's a joy to read, I think. And I don't know. Like I said, I've been reading like a lot of Batman because this new project.
That's cool.
Very cool. All right, we're on to our last segment, which is all right, it's promo time. So give us all your links and stuff, and for that first we go to our guest, Doug.
Okay, follow me please on Twitter, Doug A Wood 1. I don't know if you need to put the capital D and the capital W, but maybe. There you go. Thanks.
How about that?
You. Yeah.
Bam.
Ultramax is on Kickstarter. It's going really well. Soon, very soon, like I said, Project Big Hype. I hope people will give that a chance because I think it's going to be pretty big, especially since the name of the people. And I just got a page in as we were talking, and holy crap! So I hope people are into this as much as I am.
Hey, Dirk, put his Twitter handle back on there because you didn't put it on long enough for me to type it up.
Sorry,
I got you.
I got a lot of things to plug.
No, that's cool. You're good, man.
It's important though to get that Twitter thing out there because you are active. You're on there quite a bit, and you're also sharing other people's stuff, including mine.
Yeah,
which I appreciate.
Well, that's part of being the disabled person. I am 100% disabled, so I don't do anything else besides watch the kids and be on Twitter.
You seem to be creating a lot of comics, so I wouldn't say you don't do anything. So.
I would say that you're pretty busy and you're doing all right.
Thank you.
For sure. All right, is that it? We also didn't talk about Leap M. There's the link for that as well. See, I got your back, man.
Don't kill me, please. We just started this new one, please.
I know.
It's our fault. We talk way too long. This is just not 30 minutes. So
that's true. And you're also hooking me up with one of the creators from this thing. So hopefully we'll have him on soon.
Oh, and if you'll have him, Michael was really interested for the Ultramax artist. So
bring them, bring everyone. I mean, everyone doesn't honestly, everyone doesn't have to do the full 2 hours. I realize that's kind of a marathon. Even people who are kind of used to, cavorting for 2 hours may not want to be on here and mess around with that. Even if you don't want to do that, we can do a 15-minute interview where we just get right directly to you and we put the links out there and we get, your story and stuff. So, you don't have to commit to the whole thing. We'd be glad to do interviews with people. Send everyone our way, please.
Okay. Thank you so much for letting me do this. And thank you for giving everybody an opportunity like that. It's really awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. All right, Scott, what do you have to say?
I have to say that you can find me over at bothdown.com. That is my podcast. If you want to talk about Blood Bowl, my favorite subject of Blood Bowl, the role-playing game, as I call it, the big adventure fantasy football game that we've done now for 9+ years. It's been going on forever, and it's going to continue to go. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Over 100 episodes and still growing strong. You can, find me over at Ranking Studios with the other guys for anything. And, hopefully soon we'll be revealing some,
how about this?
Hopefully soon we'll be revealing some art for a project that we completed.
What?
Yeah, hopefully in the next 3 or 4 weeks, but we won't talk about that.
Do we have an announcement coming up sometime?
No, we're hoping to get a different guest on and maybe have an announcement on that. So we'll see.
Intrigue.
But those are the places you can find me. You can find me over on Twitter if you really, really have to find me on Twitter. But
do you ever check that?
I'm not as active as I used to be. It's hard doing social media, man.
I could use some help if you want to get over there. Sean is not on that platform. So
I'm there. I'm not as active as I used to be. Once I got Facebook to help promote the podcast, you can find me on Facebook as Scott Prime. Twitter kind of, I'm just not as active as I should be. So I try. So that's all I got going.
All right, Sean, you're up.
Yeah, I don't do Twitter. Not
tweet.
But
tell us what you do.
What I do is obviously working some personal pieces and some other projects with some other projects that are going on, which, as Scott mentioned, we'll hopefully be talking about here in the near future, as well as just personal pieces and what have you. All of that hopefully coming soon to the webpage, rankingstudios.com, as well as the Facebook page, Facebook/Ranking Studios. Please stop by, check us out, subscribe, and drop us a line. Let us know what you like to see, what you like about what we do, and what you hate about what we do. Whatever. We just like people talking.
So please, some comments, please.
So feel free to holler at us and let us know what you'd like to see. Maybe we're not giving you what you need, so let us know, and we'll go from there.
All right. Let's see. I guess it's me. I guess I'll bring me up. I got sidetracked there for a second, and that's a bad thing because I'm running this thing. Okay. If you're interested in what I'm doing, please go over to facebook.com/Dirk Hooper Artworks. That's a good place to see what I'm doing. Lately, I've been working on a bunch of stuff for something entirely different, so I haven't been producing artwork. But go see my old stuff and get on there to see the new stuff when I'm doing it. Also, it's been mentioned a few times. There's my Twitter address. Get on there. I will help promote you. Just, interact with me or something. Tell me what's going on. I will be glad to send your stuff out to my followers. And, I like to hear what you're doing. Let's help each other out on that thing. So that's what I got. And you can also check over on rankingstudios.com. We have a post about Doug on Ranking Studios on the blog right now. So, if you want to get some links and you want to know you're going to be able to find it on anywhere that we post this. But also, if you want to go to rankingstudios.com, you get the breakdown of all of the links and stuff on there as well, and for future guests and future stuff as well. All right. Let's see. I've got several comments here. Let's go to those before we wrap this up. Did we do this? Walt says Samurai Champloo is great. Jerry says watching kids and promoting projects on Twitter are both very important roles. So there's that.
I hope so.
She's talking. We don't want to get on the tangent. You talked about Lovecraft Country. I believe that Walt is watching that. Maybe when we have him on here, he'll talk a little bit about that. And I said, "What do you do? And he's calling me out on that. Mike says, it's been an interesting show. Thank you very much. And the official podcast is very interesting too. For Lovecraft Country, do they have a podcast?
I'm sure
that's
they
what
do.
We need.
Everything is a podcast.
I'm thinking about turning this into a podcast. No kidding. I mean, it'd be very easy for me to just grab the audio and then post it to the ranking site and then use that, serve that as the URL. So, and if people are, they don't have time to watch the video or something, maybe while they're driving to work or they're at work or something, they'd want to listen to the full 2 hours. So I'm thinking very seriously about taking these and doing that soon.
Real quick, Doug, thank you for coming on. You did great.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Good luck with
Thank you
everything.
so much for having me.
And we want you to continue to come on every time you got a new project, okay?
Yeah, which is, like about 3 times next week.
Heck, even if you don't have a project, just chime in.
Every 3 months, you'll hate me.
Yeah.
No. Seriously,
you guys so
you're welcome
much.
to come on
Thank
here to promote your stuff. And again, we have other avenues as well. If you just want to get on there and say, hey, here's a new project, we could do kind of an individual interview with you or whatever. We also allow former guests to pop in if they're doing a Kickstarter, they want to push something. So,
he left.
Did he go?
Crap.
We lost him at the.
I think he's telling us to wrap it up.
Well, everyone does. So Walt says that there is a podcast for Lovecraft Country. So there it is. There's some more competition for us. Everyone's got to have a damn podcast. He's welcome to come back, although we're just about done. Does anyone have anything that they want to add before we wrap it up?
I think that's it, man. We're good to go.
All right. Well, visit us on our Quora Taskforce Geek space, our Taskforce Geek Facebook group, or our home at rankingstudios.com. Thanks to our panel. Thanks very much to Doug. He did a great job on here. We really appreciate him being here. And thanks to the two of you. Sean, you did a great job on the links and stuff today. You found some stuff. For Sean, for Scott, for Doug, who's already gone. This is Dark Hooper saying dream hard.